Ruchika, who believes in the communist thought process, has not been able to quote a single primary text. I have quoted Fatnama, the victory proclamation of Akbar, where the word used is infidels.
Let's talk brutality. That's not. How dare you, as a historian, try and conflate an act of religious bigotry with a political act of war. An act of war and an act of brutality driven by hatred and bigotry is different. They're different.
The problem that we always face, and we have faced for decades, Anand, is that only one aspect of the Mughals have been highlighted in the name of trying to preserve communal harmony. Sadly, even though this has been tried for so long, communal harmony on the basis of lies cannot, or the basis of one part of the truth can never exist, and therefore it has never existed in India.
At the Open General Global University is with us. Namaste and Jai Hind to everybody. Pradeep Bhandari, this is RSSification of the educational curriculum. That's what the opposition is aiming. RSS ka agenda chala rahi hai BJP.
Well, Anandji, the reality is that we are quoting facts as it is. And the truth is that Mughal era represented a conquest by foreigners who were blatantly anti-Hindu, and I will quote certain facts. It was taught to us that Akbar was great, but it was not taught to us that Akbar killed 30,000 peasants, innocent farmers. When he had conquest the fort of Chittor, that is Chittor fort, on 9th March 1568, in Fatnama, the victory proclamation, Akbar writes, and I quote, that those who he had enslaved were called infidels, point number one. Point number two, when 30,000 peasants and farmers tried to protect themselves, Akbar on his own ordered his men, and these 30,000 peasants were killed. This is also stated in various texts, and I will quote them. The great Mughals by Ira Mukhoti quotes that in 1568, after a prolonged siege, Akbar captured the fort of Chittorgarh. After the victory, he ordered the massacre of 40,000 unarmed Hindus. In Annals and Antiques of Rajasthan by James Todd writes that Akbar counted the number of Hindus killed by weighing their janeu. After the massacre of Chittorgarh, the total weight of the janeu collected was 74.5 man, that is 40 kgs. In the book, The Akbar, the Mughal ruler, Vincent Smith on page number 58 writes, Akbar looted and ravaged the cities of Prayag and Banaras. This part of Akbar's history had been hidden and ignored. That is a hard fact. Now let me come to another argument. On, say, for instance, Aurangzeb. We've been made to say, there have been leaders of Samajwadi Party who said that Aurangzeb was secular and a great leader. What does history tell you? History of Aurangzeb by Jagannath Sarkar, page 282. On 2nd September 1669, Aurangzeb ordered hundreds of soldiers attack the Kashi Vishwanath temple, and the temple was demolished. In Masre Alamgiri, page 249, Aurangzeb asked his commander Hamiuddin Khan, and he destroyed the temple at Bijapur and converted it into mosque. This is the same instance with Babar also. Now, those who are accusing us, let me remind them of 1969. In 1969, Parliamentary Consultative Committee wanted the textbook on ancient India and wanted to categorically state that Aryans were indigenous to India. You know who rebutted it? Not just the government of the day. It was the likes of Thapar and the other historians who in ISCHR for 4 terms, 5 terms, 6 terms, continue to only peddle one version of history, which was distorted history. They did not put forward the communal aspect of the Mughal in front of the people of India. So what we are doing is pure facts, and I believe that we have the right to state facts. They distorted history for vote bank politics. On this panel, I challenge every panelist who wants to disagree with me, please quote a certain reference, a single primary document where what I have stated is not factual.
Ruchika ji.
Hi, is that my question?
Yes. Your thoughts on this, on the NCERT revision of books, and also what Mr. Pradeep Bhandari has just said.
Sure. I'll come to the first question first. On NCRT's revisions, I have two main issues. Firstly, NCRT on some points is blatantly lying. And on second, my second issue with them is that a lot of it is a lot of incomplete history that they are telling. Now, the points on which they are lying, first of all, as you had explained in your slides, that jizya was considered as a ploy to give, the Hindus a way to convert to Islam in order to escape paying jizya. Which source is the NCRT citing for this? Because I don't think there is a single source, whether it is before Akbar or after Akbar, or at any point of time in the Islamic world, where it says that jizya was somehow offered as an incentive for the non-Muslims to convert to Islam.
I'll answer that.
Right? So where is this particular source coming from?
I'll answer
The question of brutality is a very interesting question of brutality. I like to bring two examples of cruelty and brutality over here, which the NCRT has missed, and therefore I think NCRT is indulging in incomplete histories. First of all, there is a inscription on a temple in Tamil Nadu by Raja Adhiraja Chola and his people, which says that Raja Adhiraja Chola in the 11th century went to Ceylon, which is today called Sri Lanka, and there was a Pandya ruler ruling over there called Veera Salamagan. After he defeated Veera Salamagan, what he does is he cuts the nose off of Veera Salamagan's mother and then loots his entire harem, including Veera Salamagan's sister and Veera Salamagan's own daughter. They're both abducted and kidnapped, and they're taken back to Tamil Nadu in the Chola kingdom. Right? This particular example of brutality is just nowhere there. In fact, if you look at any monarch, which monarch has gone and conquered a particular place without instances of brutality? Which particular monarch has not killed people in order to conquer a particular place? If you look at Akbar's reign, for example, since we're talking about Chittorgarh, this is a person who ruled from 1560 all the way to 1605. Now, this is 45 years. In his 45 years of reign, there is only one instance that the NCRT could pick up and then use that to label him as cruel.
No.
If you would give me time, you can come
up. You can respond. But Ruchikaji, two points. The NCRT does not say that Akbar was only brutal. The NCRT says that when he was 25, he committed this act.
Yes.
But thereafter, later on in his years, he became conciliatory and he was peaceful. So they also quote from N.A. Akbari. It's not that they don't.
Yes.
But what they do is, they don't just talk about him being peaceful. The other thing is, brutality when you are fighting and vanquishing the enemy, there are certain things which are par for course for war. There are certain things which are not. So please tell me any account of the Chola kings destroying any of the Buddhist viharas when they attacked the Pandyan kings. They didn't.
I am very glad you asked, because I have examples to give you.
No. When you quoted the Cholas and the Pandyan kings, what was committed was an act of brutality on the enemy because you had to conquer that. But they did not destroy the Buddhist viharas at that time. They did not destroy the Buddhist viharas. The other thing,
maybe in that instance they don't.
No. Because please. I'm just saying because.
So basically you are saying cutting the nose of a civilian woman.
One minute. The case with Akbar, it was highlighted because he himself said that I killed them and I brutalized them and I culled them because they were infidels, because they were non-believers. There was a religious angle to it. It was not a political animosity angle to it. This is where the Distorian problem comes, ma'am.
In fact, the Chola inscription says that the Chola ruler Raja Adhiraja was very brave to have committed this
No,
act
that is
of
victory.
brutality.
That is written.
On the mother.
History is written from the victor's point of view, but the angle was political animosity. It was not religious bigotry.
She was a civilian
It
woman.
was not
She was a
Ruchika ji. See, you've gotten caught, so don't try and you've gotten caught. The intent was bigotry, that they were infidels in the case of Akbar, Aurangzeb, Babur, they were non-believers. In the case of the Cholas and the Pandyas, it was a long drawn political animosity, even though both sides had both Shaivites and Vaishnavites. They may have
children.
So that's what I'm trying to say.
why
No,
kidnap
what
the civilian women?
happens?
Why cut their noses?
Brutality with
Why
women
cut
or
the noses of the
political
women?
animosity,
Is that not
plundering and all that.
brutality? Cutting the nose of
No.
civilian
You are
women
now
is
hanging
not
around
brutality.
brutality. You are trying to again gloss over the religious bigotry, which was glossed over.
Yes.
That's the
I
distortion.
can give you
The religious
examples
bigotry
of
that
Chola
Hindus have to
rulers.
be culled because they are not Muslims. That was
I
that.
can
That's
give
what.
you,
So
if
that's
you have
okay.
time to listen,
Pradeep,
and if you are willing to listen, I can give you examples of
date,
Chola rulers
I'm
destroying
taking.
Jain temple.
You decided
Anandji.
to pick an example which was not
I can give
bigotry
you an
to
example.
try and steer
I
the
can give
discussion
you
to
an
brutality.
example.
I
I
am
can
saying
give you
stick
an
to
example
stick
of
to
Chola
bigotry,
rulers.
stick to
You just
religious
don't want to
bigotry.
listen.
Anandji.
Yeah,
Till
You
now,
just
the
don't want to
this is
communist
how historians work.
You
Yeah,
just
one
don't
second.
want to listen
till
to
now,
it. I can give you examples of
Ruchika,
Chola
who
rulers
believes in
who
the
have
communist
destroyed-
thought
who have
process,
destroyed
has not been
Jain
able to
temples.
quote a single
I can give
primary
you
text.
examples of
I have
Chola
quoted
rulers who have
Fatnama,
destroyed
the
Jain
victory
temples.
proclamation
I'm
of
categorically
Akbar,
stating
where
that
the
China
word
is not
used is
Let's not speak over each
infidels.
other. Let's
I
not
was not
speak over
speaking
each other.
over you,
Okay,
Ruchika.
one
Now,
minute.
when your
Please yield,
facts-
I'll come back to you.
Ruchika, I was
wasn't
not
even given
speaking
time to
over you.
speak.
No. So please
That
yield,
is
I'll come back to
exactly
you.
how they do
I'll
it.
come
When
back.
they do not have facts, they rattle.
Let's time out on both sides. Hindol Sen Gupta and
10
Atikur.
seconds,
No,
she challenged
Hindol Sen
just
Gupta and
5
Atikur.
seconds.
No, 1 minute. 1 minute. You know what is brutality, ma'am? That a professor on the middle of the street in 1994, his two legs are chopped off so that he
Yes.
can't walk. It's being done by the communists. Tell me if it is their part of the Kerala history, ma'am. Tell me the brutality of the communists is there as part of the Kerala history books, and has it been added? Has it been added? A professor P.J. Joseph's hands are chopped off. A Sadananda master's feet are chopped off. That is not brutality. That is not brutality. Let's talk brutality. That's not. How dare you, as a historian, try and conflate an act of religious bigotry with a political act of war. An act of war and an act of brutality driven by hatred and bigotry is different. Different. Hindol Sen Gupta. Hindol Sen Gupta. Now, ma'am, please, both of you, please yield. Please yield. Please, no, please yield. Hindol Sen Gupta and Atikur Rahman. Yeah.
Thank you. Well, I just want to say that, the few times of these debates again and again, especially with people who have barely ever published anything in their life, but that's okay. I mean, this will go on and on. Let me just say this, Anand, that there are really very few examples of the kind of brutality and the kind of iconoclasm that Islamic conquest has done not only in India, but anywhere in the world. There are very few examples. Now, we can keep trying to produce, one tidbit from here and one tidbit from there. But there will never be an end to this debate. The fact is, Islamic iconoclasm has very few peers with regard to the kind of absolutist brutality that it conducted its affairs in various parts of the world, not just in India. In India, especially, there is a particular kind of brutality because, of course, infidels who are also worshippers of Put-parast, I think you used the phrase, or the word, the infidels who also worship idols are in the eyes of particular sections in Islamic theology are the worst kind of people, and therefore the atrocities against Hindus specifically are particularly brutal. That does not mean, as you yourself were pointing out, that there are not some good things that the Mughals did. Indeed, in his later life, Akbar did become a genuine, he did become someone who genuinely tried to bridge, create bridges between different faiths. Of course, we cannot forget, other, Islamic
he tried to bring through the two different ways of life, the Abrahamic thought and the Sanatan thought in Deen-e-Ilahi. He tried to do that, yeah.
We cannot also forget that the Mughals contributed, stayed in our country, contributed, built families, built lineages, and so on and so forth. But the problem that we always face, and we have faced for decades, Anand, is that only one aspect of the Mughals have been highlighted in the name of trying to preserve communal harmony. Sadly, even though this has been tried for so long, communal harmony on the basis of lies cannot, or the basis of, one part of the truth can never exist, and therefore it has never existed in India. I think it is time we see things as they are, in black and white, with all the complexities, and we accept the complexities. Anybody who argues that Islamic iconoclasm has a parallel by picking up some temple inscription of the Cholas. I mean, this is laughable. This is not serious stuff. If this is the level of debate, then we should, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I at least should not participate in such laughable debates. But this is, look at the bloodshed, look at the sweep of bloodshed that Islamic iconoclasm
But
has
Hindu
had
Sengupta, these were the
across
people who 500 years of the Chola kingdom, 700 years or 800 years of the Ahoms, plus the Chalukyas, their reign, the Guptas, they were all reduced to one page, one and a half, 2 pages. The interpretation of Ashok itself was changed. Ashok was already a Buddhist before the war of Kalinga happened. But then what did the history book say? That he embraced Buddhism only after Kalinga war. So all of these historians, these narratives happened. Why was Ashok, what was so big deal? What was why was the Vishnu Stamba which is there in Delhi? Why is that not talked about? What is the history with respect to the Vishnu Stamba, the temples around that and Qutbuddin Aibak? What did he try and do when he came? How is the Qutub Minar built? With what remnants? What are the stones that have been used to build the Qutub Minar? They are nothing but the same stones that were plundered and broken out of the temples that were destroyed there. Is that part of our history book? It should be there. It should be there. Because the textbooks also say that what happened in the past should not be reflected on those in the present, because today's generation's got nothing to do with what happened in the past. But it is important to reconcile. It is important to understand the inconvenient dark truths of our history as they happened, even in the colonial rule. Even in the colonial rule, and even before that, even before the Mughals came, even before the colonial rule happened, even before in the previous dynasties across the various riyasats, even in the time of Kanishk, lot of atrocities. Let's understand that along with the good. Let's not just gloss over, and let's not put about 5,000 years of our history into 2 chapters and highlight, across three grades, only 600 years of our history. Atikur Rahman. That's another problem with our history. It's far greater and far deeper. Atikur Rahman, thank you for your patience. Then coming back to you, Pradeep and Ruchika. Ji.
Thank you. Anand, I have no qualms accepting that the rulers, mainly the Muslim rulers, if they are quoted with brutalities. But for God's sake, I am not ready to accept that they were communal in nature. If they were communal in nature, just tell me 2 things. What was the need for Akbar to get the Mahabharata translated into Persian? What was his aim? And if Akbar is mentioned, Aurangzeb is mentioned, why not Dara Shikoh? He got the Upanishads translated into Persian. What was the need? And the quotes, if Pradeep Bhandari is saying that whatever you want to mention it by names and by quotes. There are innumerable amount of quotes wherein people and historians have established that the communal angle given to the Mughal history, I can agree on the Muslim part of the history. But beyond 1526, I am not ready to accept that the Mughals were communal in nature, except Aurangzeb. Aurangzeb did brutalities against the Hindu brethren, that is accepted. But to draw in with him with Akbar and various other kinds of communal angles, and for God's sake, Anand, if all this is establish it by facts. And why are the politicians into academics? I do not understand. If the historians are saying that these brutalities were in the name of religion or otherwise, I will accept it, but not by the BJP and the RSS. The ruling regime is from time immemorial, they are against the Muslim and the Mughal rule.
Okay, now the person who heads the NCERT, head the Department of Social Sciences, is Michel Danino. He's got nothing to do with the RSS or with the BJP. The NCERT and also has taken its time to substantiate all that they have included into the textbooks with proof, with background. And who killed Dara Shikoh, sir? Who did not tolerate someone who wanted who walked on a path of moderation? Let's not forget that. And why was that person killed? Why was Dara Shikoh killed? And by whom?
Bring it to light,
Correct.